You're now tuned in to the Real Money Coach broadcast with host Tony Jackson, author of the book Increase, Protect, and Dominate Your Money. Get ready for winning tips and strategies to effectively manage your finances and learn the key principles of protecting and dominating your money. Now, here's author and host Tony Jackson.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Real Money Coach Show here on Praise 100.9 in every place, everywhere that you get your podcasts. We are there. It's a big day. It's a big day today. Today is the Spring 2023 Business Expo that will be taking place out in Concord. And I know you're up. If you are up and about, you may want to just come by because there is a action-packed agenda. I'm going to go over that with you here in just a second. And so if you're not up and around and dressed, you got time. You got time to come out to the Business Expo. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that here in a quick second or two. Also, I have a wonderful guest that will be joining us a little later in the show, Mr. Brandon Lee. And so we'll talk to Brandon for a few minutes here. And then I will conclude the show with just a little bit of intel, if you will, as it relates to the most recent debt relief bill. So let me tell you this. Let me tell you about the conference that is taking place in Concord. And the actual address, y'all, for the Business Expo, the address is actually 212 McGill Avenue Northwest. Again, that's 212 McGill Avenue Northwest. At this point, y'all just come pay at the door. And by the way, if you use the code Tony 2023, and I believe it's all caps, Tony 2023, it will take $25 off of the registration for you, only $50 to attend this wonderful event that is taking place this morning, today, into the afternoon. Let me just go through the agenda real quick with you. At 9 o'clock, we're going to have all types of vendors there. You can visit the different vendors, the booths, get information. Breakfast will be served as well, and that's from 9 to 9:45. At 9:45, there will be introductions of all of the speakers that will be taking place on the main stage. And I will be the first speaker. I will be kicking the event off. I will start at promptly 10 o'clock. My topic, my thing that I will be addressing the crowd on is generational wealth. I ask you, what is generational wealth? I'll have the answer for you on stage at the Business Expo. And then following that, we'll transition. People get a chance to see the vendors. And then after that, Dr. Patrick Graham will come and he will have a short presentation as well as a panel. And then at 11 o'clock, there will be breakout sessions. And I will be doing a breakout session. And I think there'll be two breakout sessions happening at the same time. And I do believe you might be able to rotate between the two. So I will do a breakout session. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be great. And then from there, we will then move into lunch. And following lunch, Dr. Amy Steele will be our main stage speaker. And then again, a break, chance to visit the vendors. And then on our next main stage speaker will be Dr. Marie Gladden. And so you do want to make sure that you check it out. Following that, we'll have a breakout session from 2 to 2:55. And we will conclude the conference at 3 o'clock. And like I mentioned, I am excited about it. LaSharie Rogers, who was a guest on the show a couple weeks ago, you guys may remember that. She was also on my Facebook Live YouTube show, and she's just done a wonderful job of putting this conference together. If you heard her story, you can see that she's pretty amazing to go on what she's been through, losing her husband, and then, all the things that come with that, and the fact that she's become quite an entrepreneur. So you want to make sure that you come out and check out the conference today. Starts at 9 o'clock. So you got time. You can listen to me until I go off the air at 8 and then jump in your car. Meet me in Concord. Let's have a great time this morning and get our minds educated for generational wealth. Listen, I also want to just remind everyone that the following weekend will be the MBA Millionaire Mindset Conference here in Charlotte. Make sure that you check that out. We'll have some things about this in my private Facebook group so that you can go there and get all of the information, get all of the tea, as they say. And I do want to remind you of doing this. Listen, we are striving to hit 1,000 followers on our YouTube channel, and we are getting close. So if you're listening under the sound of my voice, make sure you go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube/The Real Money Coach. And let's get pushed over that 1,000. I'm saying by the end of the month, we ought to get there. By the end of the month, we ought to blow that out, be more than 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you for your support. I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to come back with this wonderful interview with Mr. Brandon T. Lee. You're listening to The Real Money Coach, and I am your host, Tony Jackson.
We belong to you, Lord. We belong to you, yeah. So your song flow through my lips, your work move through my hands, your thoughts stay on my mind, live in me. Your song flow through my lips, your work move through my hands, your thoughts stay on my mind, live in me. And you can have all of me, have all of me, have all of me, 'cause I'm yours, and I give you all of me, give you all of me. God, here's all of me. I'm yours, God, I'm yours. Yes, I'm yours.
Want to scale your business to 7 figures and beyond? Then join us for the Matthews Business Network Millionaire Mindset Conference in Charlotte, North Carolina on June 18th and 19th. There will be successful entrepreneurs from across the country, vendors, and great food. Featured speakers include Dr. George Frazier, Mr. Malik Yoba, Dr. Michelle Walker-Davis, and the Real Money Coach, Mr. Tony Jackson. Call 732-357-5701 for more information, or go to mbnconnect.com to get registered right now.
Hey, Tony Jackson here. You know me as the Real Money Coach. Listen, I want to encourage you to do something. And what I want to encourage you to do is email me your questions, your comments, or even suggestions of topics that you'd like us to cover on the Real Money Coach show. You can email it to info@therealmoneycoach.com. Again, that's info@therealmoneycoach.com. Email us your questions, your comments, your suggestions, and we will answer those on air and also on our Facebook Live YouTube show on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you email us so that we can get that information that you want to know in your ears. I am Tony Jackson, the Real Money Coach.
And welcome back to the Real Money Coach broadcast with author and host, Tony Jackson.
Welcome back to the Real Money Coach show here on Praise 100.9, Charlotte's Inspiration Station. And as I mentioned to you earlier in the show, I am excited. I have a guest with me on the line. He is none other than Brandon T. Lee. Let me tell you a little bit about Brandon before he comes on. He is a licensed realtor, skilled real estate developer, proficient loan specialist. I mean, the accolades go on and on. But what you need to know is this. He has 15 years of all aspects of real property, real estate experience. He has advanced degrees in coursework and construction management, and he holds an MBA degree, and that's Master's in Business Education, to his account. And he is the president, the CEO, the owner, the head of the brand group. Brandon Lee, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. You make me almost want to pay myself.
Listen, man, I understand you getting paid now. It ain't no doubt about it, man. Well, welcome to the show, man. You are, I'm excited to have you here on this Saturday morning. And, we have listeners around Charlotte. And then, of course, this is issued also as a podcasts, and all the platforms and that type of thing. But before we get into that, tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and your journey and how you got to where you are now.
Man, that's a good question. So basically, I grew up in a family full of businessmen, entrepreneurs. My uncle's a contractor. My dad's a contractor. My grandfather owned a trucking company, club, a bar, bar and grill. My grandmother was one of the first African-American women in New Orleans with her own restaurant. So I actually saw a lot of business growing up, the good and the bad, though. It wasn't all good, and they weren't always, rich and happy. I've seen the bad times when, the businesses are going bankrupt or the economy slowing down, you name it. But I saw it at a young age, so it really kind of like mentally prepared me to be a business owner. So even at school, when everybody was talking about, what they wanted to do, I kind of had a clear vision. Okay, maybe I want to do sports, and maybe I want to do music, or even do acting or something creative, because that runs in my family as well. In the back of my mind, it was always, I'll fall back on being a businessman, whether that's construction or real estate. And so that's kind of what happened.
Well, man, that's pretty awesome to have those examples, in your life of entrepreneurs and that type of thing. So that when times get rocky, you can draw back on those times and have some real life examples, even in your family, of how to survive that. One way that we can often share our experiences, even with people who may not have that in their families or in their immediate circle, is through books. And I see that you authored several books, man. I'm looking at the list. Let me just read these off for y'all. It's Rich Off of Real Estate, The Ultimate Guide to Real Estate, Achieving the American Dream, and 7 Keys to Unleashing Your Prosperity, The Ultimate Guide to Success. And the other book is 48 Laws of Property. Man, you've been busy writing, man. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, that's interesting. So I grew up actually writing music, poetry. My dad's side of the family is very creative, as well as my grandmother on my mom's side. So in on both of those sides, there's everything from, authors, musicians, singers, and things of that nature. So that kind of was like the artistic side of me, in class, when I wasn't doing my schoolwork, I'm writing a poem or trying to write a song or different things of that nature. So as I got older, God just kind of put it on my heart to start writing, documenting some of my journeys, the good and the bad in business. And, I saw so many books that was so thick, that a lot of our people, especially our kids, wouldn't want to read a 400 or 500 page book. So I said, okay, let me break this particular topic down to, a 20-page book or a 10-page book, but it's so thorough and it's so straight to the point. And that kind of led in towards what I'm doing now, as far as even in the film industry and, coming out with my own courses. The ability to write and put my thoughts on paper, it stemmed from, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. As far as I can remember being able to write, I was trying to write something, meaningful, not just, putting my letters down. It was always trying to write a book, trying to write a script, trying to write a song, or trying to, draw or something like that. So it's been in me since I was a kid. Man,
that's pretty awesome, man. So thank you for that body of work. Now, of course, you're going to be our guest on our show live on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Y'all, that's, as you know, that's on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, The Real Money Coach Show at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday. So, Brandon, what I want to do, man, and I know you have a whole list of them, but I want you to hit maybe 3 of Brandon's B's. And I saw this, man, and I thought it was just so intriguing. So in the last 60 seconds or so that we have left, just give the people a little taste of what they might get a little bit more on Tuesday.
So I'm going to talk about Brandon's B's and Brandon's C's.
All right, now.
We added the C's we added the C's after a while, but the B's are going to be banking, budgeting, and borrowing. Because, growing up in a family of businessmen and businesswomen, that was the one thing that we didn't really understand in the African American community. We didn't understand credit. We ran away from credit. We didn't like the banks. We thought the bankers were out to take from us, and we definitely didn't know how to budget. You know what I'm saying? So we were, we make $50,000, we go buy a $50,000 car. We make $70,000, we go buy a $90,000 house. So I'm very big on banking and banking relationships. So banking is number one, right? So like I have multiple banking accounts, multiple banking relationships, which turned into multiple lines of credit. If you have, let's just say, and we'll go small on the numbers. Let's say you're making $50,000 a year in your business. That $50,000 needs to be being moved from bank account to bank account, depending on how you structure your business. But that money can move from Chase to PNC to, state bank or the credit union and the community bank, because what you're doing is you're building banking relationships. So now we can go ask the bank for money. We can go ask the bank for a line of credit. We can go ask the bank for resources, things of that nature. And that we can go so deep into banking. And then the second thing is going to be...
Let me say, Brandon, let me just say this, man. You didn't just drop the nugget. I almost feel like we ought to be putting the Cash App out there for what you just gave, man. We ought to get paid for that thing, man. So listen, we can't get the people all of it today, man, this morning, but we're going to come back on Tuesday. And we're going to finish this out. Man, I so appreciate you taking time out of your morning to be with the Real Money Coach. And I can't wait to further unpack this on Tuesday. Y'all make sure you dial in so you'll know how to get in contact. Matter of fact, give them how do they get in contact with you, Brandon, real quick?
Okay, cool. So you can visit me on Facebook. I'm Brandon Lee, MBA. Instagram, I'm Brandon_the_brand_Lee. If you go to my Instagram page, it looks like a fitness page because I'm actually doing a fitness challenge and a fitness competition in the next couple months. And then also you can go to my website, BrandonLeeFinancial.com, or you can check out my movie on Tubi, which has a lot of financial things in it. It's about a guy that goes from kind of the wrong lifestyle to trying to be legit into opening a tax office, and it's like a funny, hilarious movie with some of the top stars in the independent film world, and that's going to be Quick Money, QUIK Money on Tubi. So Brandon Lee Financial, Instagram, Facebook, and you can check out my movie, Quick Money.
All right, there it is. That's from Brandon Lee. Y'all listeners, I'm gonna see if I can twist his arm and show if we can show a little clip of the movie on Tuesday. So make sure you dial in. Listen, I got to take a quick break. Thank you again for being here. We're gonna take a quick break, and I'm gonna come and finish the show. You're listening to the Real Money Coach Show here on Praise 100.9, Charlotte's Inspiration Station.
This is not the first time that your back has been against the wall, but you got to remember that the same God that brought you out the last time, he can do it again. God, would you give us an encore?
God, I have been here before.
Yeah.
When it felt like I couldn't take life anymore.
Delivered so much.
I cannot find my way.
Can't figure this one out.
Or the strength to fight another day. God, I'm losing it.
Don't know if I can hang on.
Feels like I cannot last through this.
So Father,
So won't you
fix it.
fix it like you did before you got.
Do you have passion for your business but feel like your finances are falling short? Running a business takes more than a great idea. It takes a solid financial plan. Mitchell Consulting can help you turn your passion into profit with their financial advisory services. Get the financial guidance your business needs. Contact Mitchell Consulting to learn more about their passion to profit capabilities.
Hey, Tony Jackson here. You know me as the Real Money Coach. Listen, I want to encourage you to do something. And what I want to encourage you to do is email me your questions, your comments, or even suggestions of topics that you'd like us to cover on the Real Money Coach Show. You can email it to info@therealmoneycoach.com. Again, that's info@therealmoneycoach.com. Email us your questions, your comments, your suggestions, and we will answer those on air and also on our Facebook Live YouTube show on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you email us so that we can get that information that you want to know in your ears. I am Tony Jackson, the Real Money Coach.
And welcome back to the Real Money Coach broadcast with author and host, Tony Jackson.
Well, welcome back to the Real Money Coach Show here on Praise 100.9, Charlotte's Inspiration Station. I certainly believe that you enjoyed that interview with Brandon Lee. Listen, the 3 B's, right? Budget, banking, right? And learning how to do those things is so important. And, you know, we're going to really unpack some of that on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Facebook, YouTube. So make sure you dial in for that. I want to just go into, as we close out the show today, I want to go through what I feel are the 7 major things that came out of this most recent debt relief bill that was signed into law. There's 7 things that are really kind of top of the mind that I think we just need to be aware of. And again, you know, our goal here on the Real Money Coach Show is to not just, we hope that you're inspired, right? We hope that you come, you listen to some of our guests, you listen to their stories, where they came from, what they're doing, how successful they are. And my prayer is that you will listen to those and week after week and be inspired to be your very best self, right? To take your business, to take your job, to take your family to the next level. That's what we do. But the other thing that we also want to do is make sure that you're informed, that you have information that I feel you need to know so that we have, and I'll talk about this a little bit at the conference later this morning, that your money IQ, your financial IQ becomes higher and higher. So those are our goals. That's what we want to see happen. And so for that reason, I'm going to just spend a few minutes here just talking about this debt ceiling bill that was signed into law. The very first thing that it accomplished is it accomplished the raise on the debt ceiling itself. And if you go to U.S. debt calculator, you can look at this. Our U.S. debt right now is at in excess of $31 trillion. $31 trillion of debt in the United States. That's what our government owes. And so what they did is they said, well, we're not going to put a cap on that debt ceiling for the next 2 years. So in 2024, they'll be doing this again. That'll be election year and all that kind of stuff that goes with it, right? Now, the amazing thing, I guess you can say it's amazing. It's kind of a drag, but, you know, it is what it is of that $31 trillion, if you break that down by taxpayer, that is $248,000 per taxpayer. $248,000 per taxpayer. So you get a tax bill, I get a tax bill, we all get a tax bill, right? But that's the reality that we live in, okay? So they raised it. We needed to do that to avoid a government shutdown and all those types of things. Now, number 2 is that it put no cap. It capped some of the non-defense spending. If you look at the 3 largest budget items in the U.S. budget, defense spending, interest on the national debt, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, those are the largest items. So what it did, it put caps on some non-defense spending, and so that's part of the bill. A good thing is that it protects veterans. It protects veterans' Medicare, medical care. And, you know, as I was thinking about that, they protected, veterans' medical care. Well, they did this over Memorial Weekend, so they better have protected the vets, right? But that's part of the bill. Number 4 is that it does expand work requirements if you're going to get SNAP, right? SNAP In my day, we just called it food stamps, right? But it's food stamps. So they expanded the work, because how the law works currently is that if you're age 49 and 55, you have to work 20 hours a week. Right now up to 49. So if you're 20 to 49, you have to work 20 hours a week to continue getting your food stamps. Well, they raised that up to 55. So, yeah, that's a draw, right? But one of the good things is that it did expand the SNAP program to more vets and also to homeless people. So we think that's good. And number five on my list is that it pulled back some of the COVID relief funds. So there's about $28 billion of COVID money that has been unobligated. So it hasn't been assigned to anything. It's just sitting there. And most of it was probably going to be set aside for maybe, research, that type of thing. But it was unobligated. It was unassigned. They're pulling that back into the Treasury. Some people think this number 6 is a good one, is that it cuts funding to the IRS. Cuts funding to the IRS. And many people argue that the additional funding that was given to the IRS, and if you listen to some of the political verbiage out there, the political noise is they felt like that the IRS would use that to hire more agents to audit more. That was kind of the fear campaign that was put out there. But anyhow, it cuts some of the IRS funding. Number 7, which is probably very, very dear to many of you who are listening, has to do with the student loan, right? Now, what's been twisted, it says like the debt relief bill now makes it where you got to start paying your student loans back. That's not 100% true. It was already set that if there wasn't a decision made on the Supreme Court case in terms of the loan forgiveness, that 30 days after June 30th, that the student loan repayment program would start. What they did in the bill is they took away the administration's ability to extend that once again. It's been extended several times since COVID. And so what they did in this debt bill is said that the Department of Education, the Biden administration, Biden-Harris administration can no longer extend it again. And so it didn't really make student loans due. They were already coming due, but it did take away the administration's ability to extend it again. Now, the $20,000, the $10,000, $20,000 if you got a Pell Grant, that is still being argued in Supreme Court. There's still that issue going on. They did not do anything with that. That's still a possibility. There is a separate bill that has been passed in either the House or the Senate that wants to do away with the student loan debt relief. But Biden has pledged that if that bill gets to his desk, he's going to veto it so that we can still move forward with some student loan forgiveness. So that's what's in the bill. That's what you need to know. Listen, I'm out of my time, y'all, and I got to get down to Concord. I got to get down to the conference center there so that I can meet you there. Make sure that you follow us on our social media platforms at The Real Money Coach, and most specifically to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Y'all have a great weekend, and I hope to see you at the Spring 2023 Business Expo.
We hope you've enjoyed the Real Money Coach broadcast with author and host Tony Jackson. We encourage you to utilize today's strategies and principles to manage your money in the most effective and winning way. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to send us an email, TonyJacksonAgency@gmail.com, or you can reach us on all social media platforms. And if you would like a copy of Tony Jackson's book, Increase, Protect, and Dominate Your Money, log on to www.therealmoneycoach.com. Until next week's empowering broadcast, God bless.